Hey everybody, welcome back. Devin, the OG, the original Grognard. Yeah, I'm still working on that. So, it's a Sunday. I got 30 pounds of boxes delivered to my doorstep this morning. I like boxes. Boxes are cool. These boxes are so massive and so big, I can't even get my camera anywhere near the table to even get them all in screen. And everybody knows I got big hands. So yeah, big boxes. I got a good idea what's in them. So why don't we open them up and take a look? I'd have no idea which one to start first. What should we start first? I mean, times like this, I really wish I had an overhead boom system to be able to have really high drawn out shots a little bit. Because I mean, most of the stuff I do is upward close. So I don't mind, kind of being closer. But for something like this, I kind of wish I was a little bit further back. Anyways, all right. So, yes, I blocked out everything. No, you can't find out where I don't care if people know my name, whatever. All right. My cool train knife. I still haven't cleaned it and sharpened it yet. But, it's powerful enough to cut masking tape. So really, at the end of the day, what more do I need? I suppose I could probably shank it into someone's neck if I shoved really hard. Not sure that is going to come up very often. Anyways, oh my god, peanuts. Packing peanuts. I hope it's not 30 pounds of packing peanuts. Oh, dear Lord, I hate peanuts. Let me get a trash bag. Let's do this the right way. Peanuts all over the place. Alright, garbage bag. How do I want to approach this? Alright, maybe bag wasn't such a great idea. Alright, this is going to take forever. This is going to take forever. I mean, part of me is tempted to just dump it all over the floor. But future me would really hate that I did that. I mean, I may think it's hilarious now, but yeah, future me's not gonna like that. All right, you know what? We're just gonna reach in. I don't know what's in here. Let's just reach in. There's stuff in there. There is stuff in there. I'm seeing stuff in there. Close my eyes. My eyes are closed. Pull out the first item. Oh, what are we looking at? Here. No. Oh, here's a baggie. Here's a baggie. All right. Oh, hey, look at that. All right. Hey, lock and load tactical counters. I'm guessing these are some replacement counters. What do we got here? We got Colonel Heath. So yeah, I'm pretty sure these are the replacement lock and load tactical counters. Okay, let's go ahead and put my hand back in here. So yeah, if it's lock and load tactical counters, you probably have guessed where the box is from. At least I hope my viewers are smart enough to figure out what oh my god, this is a huge box. Oh, this is gonna be, peanuts are gonna go everywhere. What do we got? Oh, look at that. Ah, there we go. All right, yeah, everybody probably had a good idea this was coming. All right, this is Storming the Gap, World of War 85, Kickstarter. I'm hoping it's all in here. There's 30 pounds worth of boxes. It should all be in here. This is the actual from the printer final production copy that we've gotten in. Now, I know there are probably going to be some people out there who's going to be a little bit irritated that there are those of us who got our copies before everybody else. Well, you know what? Reviewers, playtesters, people who work for the company, it's just a matter of life. They're going to get the copies first. I'm sorry that not everybody has gotten their copies yet. I know everybody's been waiting since August. Basically, David had them fly him a bunch of copies so he could get the copies out to, Keith and Jeff, the designers of the game. So David could have his copy, the owner of the game. And really, a lot of it is to check to see that everything's right. Because this is the last chance that the company has to go through and make sure everything's right before we get the game to the customers. And honestly, the price that was paid to fly all these games from China, which was about a crate of games, I think cost just about as much as it's costing shipping for the 3 containers to come over by the boat from China. So if you're wondering why they don't fly everything over, because then you're going to be looking at 4 or 5 times the retail price. We've discussed this before, and it's just the way business is. So anyways, so yes, okay, so Storming the Gap. I'm not going to go into each individual one yet. This is probably going to be a bit of a long video. So, sit down, buckle in, and grab onto your butts. Oh, another big box, another big box. What's in here? What's in here? Here's the Kickstarter Expansion. And this is a massive box, just like the main box. It's a 3-inch. So there is as much, actually, this is heavier than the Storming the Gap, the base set. So this is all the Kickstarter stuff. This is Defense of Frankfurt Monster Scenarios, Storm and Steel second wave with the Czechoslovakian forces and the drive-on keys in the campaign system that I've been really, really, really wanting to get my hands on. So yeah. Yeah, David said that my copy would probably have a split corner. I really don't care. It's what's inside that matters. I've had boxes crushed and shattered. Yeah, I don't really care. Let's see. Is that it for in here? That may be. Okay, I think that's everything from this box. I'm hoping that's everything from this box. Should probably pour it all out. All right. Now we got our other box. My handy dandy tape cutting kniffy. Does good with tape, maybe not so much with cardboard. Yes, I know. I need to sharpen it. Maybe I'll do it the next time I head over to my folks'. All right. It's going to be more peanuts. More peanuts. Nope, this is all... Ooh, this is all bubble wrap. Okay. I can deal with bubble wrap. Bubble wrap is much easier, much cooler, and you can squishy it and make sounds with it. All right. Bubble wrap here. Woo! All right, this looks like it is the Space Infantry stuff. In fact, I know it's the Space Infantry stuff because it says Space Infantry. All right, Space Infantry Resurgence. Oh my God, these boxes are heavy. They're heavy. Again, 3-inch box. Space Infantry Expansion. This one is actually kind of light. This one's nice. This is not too heavy to this one. All right, we got an ammo crate. This is one of the 3-inch boxes. And we're going to be taking a look at that in a little bit. And the Solo Assistant. Probably helps if I focus on the title. Great thing, covers both Nations of War and World at War 85. So if you play both games, then you have got a Solo Assistant that'll work for both of them. All right. So, for those of you who may be wondering about the regular full-on, when your copies are going to come in, the ship just updated on its location, and I'm going to be shifting the camera a little bit. So you're probably going to get a little seasick as I kind of rework everything so I can get a little bit closer in. Oh my God, I'm flying! What? The ship just docked yesterday in Canada. And as of the last check, it is still in Canada, offloading and loading on whatever it needs to load and offload, and is still slated to arrive in Tacoma on December 11th. From there, it'll offload everything. It'll be put on a train, and then the train will ship it off to Cleveland. Figure a day and a half, maybe 2 days to get to Cleveland. When it gets to Cleveland, it's going to have to go through customs. Figure a day and a half to go through customs. After that, it's going to be put on truck and shipped down to Pueblo, which is the home of Lock and Load Publishing, which is going to probably be another 2 days. So what are we looking at? So 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So maybe the games will be at Lock and Load by the 16th. David's ready for them. He's got all the people. They're all ready to start packing everything up and start shipping everything off. Stuff starts going out 17th, 18th, because you got to remember there's 3 containers of this stuff. It's not like they're just going to be able to get this all packed up and shipped off in an afternoon. It's going to take them a few days to dig through these 40-foot containers to get everything packaged together. So, best case scenario, people might, and I want to emphasize might, start seeing some of this arrive before Christmas, depending on how holiday shipping is going to go. However, I'm a cynical man. So if things can go wrong, they will go wrong. I would expect a lot of this stuff to start being in people's hands in the U.S. I'm not going to talk about Europe and Asia because I don't have the exact numbers. But in the States, I would expect a vast majority of people start getting this between Christmas and New Year's, and probably after New Year's guaranteed. I know there's a lot of people who wanted to play it over the Christmas break. There might be some of you who will be able to. It's all going to come down to the whim of the shipping gods. For the Asian shippers, or for the people in Asia, the ship for that pulled into, it wasn't Singapore, but it was a small port on mainland Malaysia, and it's slated to arrive today, I think. And then from there, it gets put on trucks and driven wherever it's got to be driven, and then shipping from there. I have no idea about England. I think the boat's been delayed getting over to the Europe until I want to say after the start of the year. David and I were talking about that. He told me, but I can't remember right off the top of my head. I apologize to our European customers. It is what it is. All right, so Storming the Gap, World at War 85. Now, we've already actually seen me do an unboxing of World at War before. That was the reviewer playtester demo copy that I received, which was published in-house. And I had to preface every time I mentioned anything about it, those cards look like crap. Yes, you're right. The cards look like crap. They're in-house. They're not the final production. This is the final production. What you're seeing now is what you're going to get in hand when it gets to your door. Hopefully without the split in the box. But, these things happen. All right. Oh, of course I had to get the one that had counters falling out all over the place. But that's fine. We know that they're going to, at least we know they pop out really, really easy. All right. So, I can't, just falling out all over the place. Oh, I'm going to have a fun time separating this. Okay. These are your standard lock and load. Let's see if we can focus in. Focus. Well, anyways, let's just grab a counter. Maybe that'll work a little bit better. There we go. Oh, almost. There we go. So, there's your normal lock and load counter thickness. And I mean, their corners are rounded. It saves me the hassle of having to try to round the corners all the time. I'm a corner clipper. I'll admit that. I know there's a lot of people out there who aren't corner clippers, and I totally get it. It's an OCD thing. It's always been an OCD thing with me, even though I've just pretty much discovered it the last few years. All right, core rules. Let's see. There's a bunch of pink slips in here. Let's see. What are these? These look like these are notes that were made on what possibly issues that cropped up. All right, so I'm not going to worry about that. But so Ruleset 2.0. This is different than the spiral bound. I think that's the spiral bound that I got from the demo copy was 1 point something something something. But no, this is your core rules. Your regular core rules. I'll take those papers out. I mean, it's rules. It's a rule book. What more do you want? We've seen the rule book before. All right, module rules and scenarios, which is kind of funny because it's just about as thick as the main rules. So module rules and scenarios. I mean, again, this is one of those times I wish I had the ability to have more of an overhead display. But, you know, Storm in the Gap, module rules and scenarios. What have we got? Oh, we got more counters all over the place. More counters. More counters. And oh, these are going to be so much nicer to punch out than the demo copy that I had. A lot of torn counters on that one. Lots of counter sheets. Oh, good looking artwork. They're going to pop right out on you, as they are all over the place in here. Dice. Gotta have dice. All right, biggest change from the copy that I showed last time is how the maps are done. All right, now if you remember last time, again, this is one of those times I wish I could, I suppose I could pull back a bit. And then it's real hard for me to reach the table, but we'll do what we can. All one-piece panel maps. I've got this upside down. Unlike the demo copy that they were split into 2 panels, but all the maps are going to be this one piece, folded out. You know, you put it under a piece of plexiglass or laminate, or not laminate, vinyl like I've got. You're going to have no problems with it. This, of course, they're all geomorphic. Maps, and I'm not gonna go open those. 45. Oh yeah, 45. This was the other one that was added in. This is one of the Kickstarter maps that was added into the base game. Big ass city, nice waterways there. It's gonna be fun to fight over. And we've got winterized versions of all the same said maps. Pretty much the only difference between these and the main and the green maps is, well, obviously they're white for winter, but also there's no crops on here. If you'll notice, there's no crops. Let's see, which map is this? This is map 1. Let's take a look at map 1 from... Well, actually, we'll just go like this. All right, so here we have side by side, or above and beyond, above and below. So yeah, right. We got this city right here, crops hex, but on this map, cities no crop hex. So that's basically really the only difference between the two differences between the winterized and the normal. Is that the winterized just doesn't have crops because there's no crops in wintertime. And of course, they're white for snow. Now, you're probably asking, why do we have snow maps if the main scenarios from the scenario book are not in the wintertime? Well, there is going to be a northern expansion to the game. I don't know what the name of it is off the top of my head, but there is going to be an expansion that's going to take place in Scandinavian countries. And as the geomorphic maps are meant to be usable in any way, shape, or form, and the plan is that all the maps can be used with all other maps of the same system, It's for design your own stuff, play your own scenarios. There are going to be campaign games that you just randomly, willy-nilly draw maps. So it's to give you a little bit of theming if you're doing a northern, or if you want to set up your own scenario that's more based with a winter theme to it. Maybe you want to try the scenarios out with the Soviets attacking in the wintertime. There are weather rules, so there's no problem and no issue with that. So it's just more options for you, and I like that. Plus, I really like the idea of Northern Scandinavian games. So more counters, admin counters. More counters, admin counters, and some unit counters. Fire, bane of my existence. Can never seem to roll to put those silly fires out. More counters. Charts, tables. Lots of charts, lots of tables. Terrain effects chart. One-sided. I really hope David doesn't need these notes that he's left attached to here. Again, terrain effects chart. More expanded terrain effects chart, looks like. Player aid card. Really, really good in determining line of sight. Height line of sights on this side. And then really good line of sight examples here. So we take a look at B. Clear. Both units are Unit 8 level. Both units are at Unit 8 level 2. That doesn't seem right. Huh. I think that's supposed to be height. Uh-oh. Yeah, that's supposed to be height. Uh-oh, David. And both. Oh, this is just... All right, we're not going to look at that anymore. We're not going to look at any more of the editing problems. Okay, so there might be a little bit of editing problems. Hopefully not. West German nationality card. And of course, it's got the, where is it? Has it got the costs on here as well? Yep, costs. So for the design your own, I believe that's per unit. Another West German card. These are by platoon. Yeah, Orange Panzer Company. 3 Leopard 2s. Cost 174 points. Really good if you're doing design your own. And the campaign system. East German. Because, of course, you're going to have the East Germans as well. Mortars, BMPs, BRDMs, HQ units, Hins, Gaskin. I'm going to guess the next one is going to be Soviet as well, but by formation? Nope. Oh, yeah, these are Soviet by units. ASU 85s, BMPs, BRDMs, all that good stuff. U.S. table? Nope, more Soviet table. Infantry, T-55s, T-62s, T-80s, ZISUs, and then by formation. So blue tank battalion of 10 T-80s is going to run you 630 points. And then, of course, you've also got attachments. You can purchase attachments for your companies. Battlefield events table, if you're playing with the events. And battlefield friction. You have a whole bunch of different random events that can crop up every turn. I always enjoy randomness on the battlefield. Missile ammo usage chart. So how the chart that you use to determine if and when your missile-armed units go out of ammo and how the reloading attempts for them go. Special ability triangle references. So there's a lot of units that might have this triangle. So like a red triangle unit is recon unit. It's got a gray. May use its indirect fire using its high explosive firepower. Orange, composite or reactive, so on and so forth. And then what do we have here? Move and fire summary. So if you can units that can move and fire at the same time. What else? These are all every die roll in the series. So basically, every time you're going to roll a die roll, and what the possible results are. So rubble fire check tells you exactly how to do a rubble fire check. Let's see, what do we got here? Oh, formation card inventory. This, not needed, but I think it's kind of cool that this was added in. So this has got a listing of all the cards, the card numbers, the designators of all the formation cards in the game. So if for some reason you think you're missing a card, you can actually check and see if you're missing it or not. Sequence of play. Entire operations phase, formation impulse, marker removal. Good way to go through the game. What do we got here? Weather change chart. So one of the events that could happen is weather change, and this is all the different weathers that could pop up. This is also really good that if you want to start off a scenario with bad weather, for example, if you want the weather to start off torrential rain or heavy fog, it tells you right there what all the effects of the weather are. So not only does this chart help you in determining if the weather changes, it also helps you determine what the weather is depending on the scenario and what you set it up to be. All right. Turn record track, weather track, squall mud box, NATO and Allies offboard artillery tracks, holding boxes, headquarters and special weapons ready to be deployed, suppressed casualties for both NATO and Warsaw Pact. Now there is a neoprene mat that is coming that also has all that information on it. And I actually think it has this on it as well for the formation decks. Really big neoprene mat for the Kickstarter backers that got that level of it. You're going to really enjoy it. But here's for a formation deck, discards, and Soviet and Allies offboard artillery tracks, so you can keep track of all that real easy. Battle generator. So if you just want to randomly generate a battle, turn length and objectives, degrees of victory, all that good stuff, so you can make up your own battles. Direct modifiers. Again, if you haven't got all these memorized. ATG minimum range, long range fire, firing into smoke, volley fire, target was landed helicopter, all the different modifiers that you can have for direct fire. I think indirect's on there as well. Some more East German charts. East German National Unit Table. Formations. So Red Motorized Rifle Battalion is going to be 386 points, and you get 10 infantry, 7 BMP-1s, and 3 MB-2s. Now that's not including any attachments you may want to purchase to give that formation. And I think it's probably, United States. Brrr, A-10. Brrr. Come on, focus. I don't know why it's having such a hard time focusing today. And United States National Chart. Okay, what else? Oh, we're almost getting to the bottom of the box. We've gotten to the bottom of the box. Unit card and reference. So basically, it breaks down the anatomy of the counter. And kind of breaks down anything that shows up on the counter, what it could possibly mean. And then just marker reference, admin markers, just explaining what they are with rules references. Okay, here's what we also want. We also wanted to take a look at this. Let me get my knife out. Should be able to defeat cellophane, hopefully. Maybe not. Letting myself get kicked in the butt by cellophane wrapping. All right, so these are your normal poker-sized cards. for the formation deck. And if you notice, these are much nicer than the ones that you saw before in the playtest copy, and the ones that everybody kept saying, those look like crap. You're right, they do look like crap. They're not the final version. These are the final version. Oops. Dropping cards all over the place. So, bunch of cards. Ooh, what's these ones? Oh, objectives. Okay. Oh, I love that blue. I don't think the blue was that bright in the last time. Those are cool. All right. And you got 2 decks of those. And I'm guessing this is going to be West Germans and East Germans. Yeah, I'm going to have a lot of stuff I'm going to be doing the next few days. Let's see. West Germans. U.S. So, all right, cool. There we go. Now, there's also, for some of the Kickstarter backers, you're also going to be getting a special set of dice. They're the metallic, perfectly balanced dice. I got a chance to use them when I was down at Contact Atlanta. They feel a little bit funny in your hand, mainly because they're metal and they are perfectly balanced. So it makes it feel a little bit funny in your hand, but they really do roll really, really nice. And so a bunch of the, so if you signed up for that level of Kickstarter, you'll also be getting that. And those are in a nice presentation case. So let me go ahead. I don't want to be too neat about this because we got other stuff we need to get to. And I'm going to be spending hours going through this stuff anyways. More counters falling out. All right, Storm of the Gap rules. All right, so that's the base game. That's the base retail game. Now let's take a look at the Kickstarter. Oh, there's another counter that fell out. Go ahead and slide that in there or I'll lose it. Okay, this is the Kickstarter. And what do we got in here? Okay, more. Bunch of stuff all right. More expanded United States nationality tables. I've already seen these, so let's just kind of flip through what else we've got. More. Oh, this is for Defense of Frankfurt. So units involved in the Defense of Frankfurt. It's going to be their nationality cards. And then, of course, you're going to have the Soviet side, the Defense of Frankfurt, for the units in the Defense of Frankfurt. Soviet unit, Defense of Frankfurt. The units associated with those 2 monster scenarios. So here's the Storm and Steel second wave. These are the Czechoslovakians. So we got the nationality card for the Czechs. And they got some weird vehicles. They got stuff I've never even heard of before. See, those are all helos, transports. Let's see. Czechoslovakian. Yeah, like this one. There's the SHKH VZ-77 Dana wheeled self-propelled artillery battalion, or artillery. Oops, focus. Battery, and look at the range on that. 68 hexes. Why is this even on the? Well, all right, I can see why. And the bigger scenarios, the Frankfurt, you could have that on the board, and you're not going to hit every hex on the board. And the funny thing is, that's not even the longest range artillery in the game. I can't remember which one it is, but there's one that's got a range of 80. It's like, are you killing me? So, Storm and Steel, West German. So this is going to be for the West German units that are involved in Storm and Steel scenarios. More West German Storm and Steel units. The Defense of Frankfurt, West Germans. So if you're just playing a scenario from the Storm and Steel book, you just grab the nationality cards for Storm and Steel. If you're playing the Defense of Frankfurt scenarios, the 2 of them, you grab the Defense of Frankfurt cards. So you don't have to go looking for everything. It's all kind of compact and right there condensed for you So you don't have to go looking through a half a dozen different cards to find out, or you don't have to worry about units that aren't in those scenarios taking up the space for units that you will need for those scenarios. Did that make sense? I hope so. All right, here we go. This is what I've been waiting for. This is the big thing I've been waiting for. The Drive to Gießen campaign system. I love campaign systems. I absolutely adore campaign systems. But yeah, this is a point-to-point campaign system that Jeff Schulte came up with. And basically the Soviets start in those four. You get so many points to build your forces with, depending on, how big you want to go and, what have you. It says, the attacker gets this many points and the defender should get this percentage of points. But basically you have, it's a point-to-point campaign system. You have formation markers that you move along. And if the two of you end up being in the same hex or the same square, you break out battle boards and just draw them randomly. If you've got 100 different boards, you've got 100 different boards that you can draw from randomly, and you set up and you fight it out, and casualties carry over from battle to battle. And basically the Soviets are trying to capture here. I think they've got 5 turns. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5 turns to get there. And this, of course, is the NATO map because it's more tinted blue, whereas the Soviet map is more tinted red. See that? See how they did that? I think that's pretty cool. Some of you may recognize this. Who was the first company that I saw do this? Game Designer Workshop's Battlefield Europe had a similar system with this area to area. Now, I'm sure there were others that did it before, and I think Battlefield Europe came out, 84, 85. I'm sure there were other game systems. That's just the first one I remember having it done, where it was an area-to-area system. And I like games like this. In a standard scenario, you're going to throw everything you have at trying to secure the objective by the end of the scenario. In a campaign game, it's like, well, is it worth it to throw all these troops to get this one objective now? But I'm going to lose a bunch of units that won't be available to me later. So it's definitely another level of thinking. Preservation of forces. You could start off big and just blow lots of troops trying to roll over, enemy objectives early. But that could leave you real weak and not have enough forces later. And since this is a double blind system, you've got these little cards that stand up kind of like Dungeon Master screens that you put up in front of you, and you hide your map from your opponent. And of course it's got all the important, the counter reference, operational map movement, and then, just important rules, sequence of play, air recon, replacement values, and stuff like that. And that's both for NATO and Warsaw Pact. And the information is the same on both of them. So, air recon tables are going to be the same. So, that one, I have a feeling I'm going to be playing more than my fair share of campaign games. All right. Oh, God. Why we got so much stuff here. All right. Let's get into the maps. Let's pull the cards out, set the cards to the side. All right. Wow, maps. Lots of freaking maps. Look at this. Look at how many freaking maps there are. Both normal and winterized. Again, the only difference with winterized is that there's no fields on them. So, good number of these maps are for Storm and Steel, and just take a look. I'm already dreading having to fight. Look at all those forests. It's just going to be knife fights galore, just up close in your face. Most of these are for Storm and Steel scenarios, which are the Czechoslovakian, so it's kind of more towards the southern front. Which, one of the reasons why there's all these, just look at all those woods. A little bit of village right there, more woods, hills. How many, I can't remember how many maps there are for that. And then rest of the maps, I think, I'm not even going to try to guess which numbers they are the 8 maps that make up the Frankfurt. Here's one. This is not one of the Frankfurt maps, I don't think. Big old hill. Lots of grain on it. Well, let's see. There are 8 maps in the Frankfurt. So how many maps total? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so there's 3 Storm and Steel maps in here for the scenarios from Storm and Steel, which is the Czechoslovakian expansion, and then the other 8 of them are the maps for the Frankfurt. Yeah, you heard me right. All 8 maps. It's a big map. I would recommend, if you really want to see a really good look at the Frankfurt map, go back into my history a little bit at Contact Atlanta. A buddy of mine, Mark, decided to do the entire Frankfurt map in miniature, in 3D, hex by hex, done in miniature. It is awe-inspiring, to say the least. I've got a couple videos up on that. I would really recommend, if you want to see that, if you want to see the Frankfurt map in all its true glory, go check out that video. All right, what else we got? Okay. The Drive on Gießen campaign system, really, really simple system. 14 pages. I mean, it's not a very thick, heavy campaign system, but 14 pages. Like I said, this is going to get a lot of work out. Storm and Steel Second Wave, module and scenario rules. So if you've played any lock and load games before, you know they've got the book, the main rule book, and then the module rules separate. Module rules for any special module rules that are in it, and then it goes into the scenarios. How many scenarios there are, I can't remember, but I mean, it's a full, 36 pages. I think there's, 12 scenarios in here? No. 6, because many of them take up multiple pages. So 6 scenarios. The defense of Frankfurt. Module and scenario rules. If you see, this is just about the same thickness as the 6 scenarios. If I can let you get the idea. See if I can try to focus. No, not going to happen. 2 scenarios. There's only 2 scenarios in the defense of Frankfurt. But again, you're fighting on 8 maps. It's huge. It's massive. Counters. Again, unfortunately, none of these are falling out. But I have a feeling that it's not going to take much to pop these out. So, is that... Okay, well, now let's see. Is that the platoon that's the upgraded? Oh, that is. Okay. So this is a little something that got snuck in that not a lot of people know about. Take a look at the the designation. M1A1. 1985, we didn't have A1s at the front. Let's see, is there a regular? Oh, okay. So here we got a normal M1 Abrams here. And here is the M1A1. Look at the stat differences. So the A1 had the 105 smoothbore. The A1, the M1, the A1 bumped it up to the 120 millimeter smoothbore. So you've got 11 firepower, 4 dice at 5, 14 firepower, 4 dice at 3. From a high explosive, 5 firepower, 3 dice at 5, 7 firepower, 3 dice at 5. Then the defenses are pretty much the same. 4-5 for armor, 4 dice at 5, 6 for movement, and then 2-4 for melee. So, why are these in here? Well, they're in here for a little bit of a what if. Plus, and the way I look at it, if you're teaching somebody the game new and they need a little bit of a help, instead of giving them a normal M1A1's company, just slide in the M1A1's Abrams Company. It gives them a little bit of an edge. You know, it helps them learn the system a little bit better. But yeah, there are no, I don't think there are any official. They might have slid in the Defense of Frankfurt. I can't remember. But yeah, so we've got some special units here that just don't show up in any scenarios, but they're there anyways, just because why not? All right, so what else have we got? Now we got some T-62s, T-64s. These are all Soviet units, T-80s. Yeah, so you can see how the T-80s... Oh, counters popping out all over the place already. Stack up. Well, you know what? Let's just go ahead and pop out an A1 and pop out a T-80. And let's take a look at them side by side. All right, so... All right. There we go. All right, so 14, 4 dice at 3, 12, 3 dice at 4. That's range. 14 range, 4 dice at 3, 12 range, 3 dice at 4. High explosive, 6 range, 3 dice at 5. 7 dice, or 7 range, 3 dice at 5. So the T-80s definitely are lacking a little bit. Well, of course, these are the M1s. Maybe I should, well, screw it. We'll just keep with the M1s. Defenses are both the same. 4 dice at 5. Movement's the same, 6. And 2 dice at 4 for melee or close combat. Plus, they've got the orange circles on them. So that means they've got the reactive armor. But yeah, you can kind of see M1s are much beefier and more kill capable than the T-80s. Why I showed that, I don't know. I just wanted to show you the comparison between the two. What else have we got? Oh, let's take a look here. Oh, focus, silly thing. T-72s. Funny enough, I always thought that the Soviets themselves used T-72s. They really didn't. That was an export vehicle for the most part, it seems. So T-72s in Czech. T-55s. Oh, I like that blue. I like that blue there. So yeah, this is all Czech equipment, some more Czech equipment, and then West German equipment. I do love that blue. Definitely much brighter and definitely looks a lot better than the demo copy I showed off earlier. Leopard. And here's the Gießen counters, admin counters. So you can mark on your map where you're doing air recon, airstrikes at. You know, who's got control of what, where your helo bases are, units that are under road march. And, of course, since the Frankfurt scenario is so big, you need more admin counters as more disrupted, more ops complete, ops command, rec markers. So, yeah, I mean, that's what, another 5 counter sheets in this one alone? Yeah, it's just, I still can't get over the maps. I mean, it just... That's thicker than most books I read. And yes, I read things other than Dr. Zeus. Jeez. I read the little golden books too. Cards. So more cards. Again, same type of card. I'm not going to open each and every one of them, but for all the formations in the expansion. I should probably get card sleeves. Although if I get card sleeves for them, it tends to thicken them by about 50%. So I don't know if I want... We'll have to see. Maybe we'll get card protectors. Data cards. Now these are tarot-sized. These are not the normal-sized playing cards. The data cards are more helpful if you're doing a miniature system. If you want to play the game in miniatures, it tells you what the counter is, and then at the hex, AP range is 60. It shows it right there. So in the hex, it's 60. Movement is 6. But if you're playing at 6mm, the range is 43 inches. And move is 4 inches. If you're playing 15mm, range is 108 inches. Movement is 9. If you're playing at 28mm, I don't know why you'd be playing it at 28mm. Range 198 inches, 16-inch movement, and then it's got the cost right there, and then the card identifier, Self-Propelled SAM, and then it gives the special function, any rules that go along with it, all right there. And that's if you want to play the game in miniature. And there is a card for every unit type in the game. So that's really cool. Okay, so 50 minutes. I don't think we're going to be getting to the Space Infantry today. All right, let's take a look at the Solo Assistant. Again, Solo Assistant, if you know Lock and Load Tactical, the Solo Assistant from that one, which is, yes, I know, licensed from... Academy Games, Conflict of Heroes, Yui Eichert's game. Licensed from there, so if you've played Company Heroes, you know their solo system. That's why it's real similar, because Lock and Load licensed that solitaire system. Nations of War, World of War 85. Nations of War is, of course, the World War II version. Not World War II. Oh, it is the World War II version of pretty much the exact same system. Nations of War covers World War II. World of War 85 covers moderns. And here's the Solo Assistant deck. And these are tarot-sized cards. Let's go ahead and take a look at these. But if you're familiar with Lock and Load Tactical Solo, then you're probably going to be able to slip right into this with no problem. You know, and this is a Solo Assistant. This is not a complete 100% AI driven. Sometimes there's going to be things that are going to crop up that just doesn't make any sense, and you're going to have to make a decision for the AI. There's no problem with that. I mean, it's a better system than just playing against yourself if you want to at least have some of the decision making removed from you and play against an unknown opponent. A lot of times when I do my games, and people have noticed this when I have played, when I play solo, I'll play both sides. Well, that kind of means I know what I'm doing on both sides. It also means I'm going to win regardless, but it also means I'm going to lose regardless. But anyways, at least this can keep me guessing, or it can keep a player guessing, because you don't know what the deck is going to do, even though you might have to occasionally step in. Now, what I plan on doing is I am going to do, once I get this all figured out and get this all settled and sorted and everything else, I am going to be playing a scenario of this again. It is more than likely going to be from Storm and Steel. I want to get the checks on the board. I've been drooling to get the checks on the board ever since well, Kickstarter came out. And I'm going to be using the Solo Assistant. So not only are we going to see how the checks work, we're going to see how a scenario from Storm and Steel works, we're also going to be taking a look at how the Solo Assistant plays. And the behavior table is actually kind of nice because it's a lot easier than the multitude of behavior tables that are in Lock and Load Tactical Solitaire. I think there's, 4 big, huge charts that you use in that one. In this one, there's only like 1 or 2 charts. Everything else is done on the card. And, so here we have Solo Assistant, Nations of War, World of War 85, module rules. And it's not that bad. I mean, it's 28 pages? Not even that. I mean, 26 pages and, 3 pages are just definitions. And I mean, and that's the one thing I love about Lock and Load. Big font. I mean, if this was an ASL, the font would be half the size. And there's a really good walkthrough in here. And, order of play, how it goes down. I mean, the actual rules themselves are like 13 pages. So it's not that hard to get into the Solo system. There may be those of you out there who remember the Advanced Squad Leader Solitaire system that broke me. Literally, I used to play ASL. I could get into ASL, but yeah, no, the Solitaire system broke me. It was far too complex. So yeah. Again, great way if you're a solitaire player or you just want to play, brush up on your skills a little bit, but don't want to have to think for the entire game. This is a great way to do it. So we'll go ahead and set that to the side. We'll take a look at the ammo crate next. Now, I know a lot of people have really been looking forward to this one. Now, this is nothing more than your standard Lock and Load 3-inch deep crate, but it's got little places here where you can put a sticker or you can write on, so you can put it on your bookshelf. It's like what the contents are. So, it's sitting on your bookshelf. You can just look. It's like, all right, here it is right here. What's in this crate? But the other cool thing, and I hope they're in here. They are. These are the new counter trays. First off, I just want to say, look how thick these counter trays are. Now, a lot of you may be familiar with GMT counter trays. Who else did counter trays back in the day? Victory Point or Victory Games did them back in the day, and they were like half the size, and you were lucky if you could get all the counters from the game into it. Well, these boxes, when you order them, the 3-inch ammo crates come with 3 of these deep dish, and I'm going to call them, it's what it is. It's deep dish counter trays. So if you got a bunch of magazine games, you could probably get, two or three magazine games in there with the counters and the magazines and all. And the one thing I do love about, I normally despise counter trays. I really do. I've just had bad luck with them throughout the years, mainly because of the size. But like I said, look how thick that is. I got a big ass thumb. I mean, that's at least 1 inch. These lids. Let's see if we can see it real clearly. They're notched on each corner. See that right there? And see if we can see it. I don't think we can really see it. Can you see that? There's a little notch in the lid. These are notched so the lids stay on. See? The lid's not coming off. So I know a lot of people, when they do trays, they store the boxes like this so the trays lay flat. I don't like doing that. I mean, take a look at my shelves. I like having them up on end. I like storing my games like this. Obviously, if you have a game with trays like this and the tray lids are not secured, what happens when you set it up on end? That's right, the lids come off. Well, we don't have the problem with these. These actually snap and lock into place. And really cool thing. So these are lock and load. They've got lock and load publishing embossed at each one of them. And again, I mean, these are deep trays. I mean, these are like twice the depth of GMT trays and the old Victory Games trays. And you can order these separately. I don't remember the exact cost off the top of my head. I'm bad when it comes to that regard. Prices is one thing. Numbers, I'm bad with numbers. But you can order these individually, and they don't have to be used for lock and load games. You can use them for pretty much anything. Any games, magazine games. If you want to store, Ziploc games. God knows I've got a lot of Ziploc games that need to be stored. Actually, I may order a couple of these on my own because I've got a big old pile of Ziploc games right there that are about ready to fall over if I put too many more on top of them. So I may go ahead and order a couple of these on my own just so I can store my magazine and Ziploc games decently. So yeah, we're pushing an hour. I will do Space Infantry separately. But I just wanted to get a quick look an hour later. Let this so everybody get an idea what is coming in the Kickstarter. And like I said, if you did the full Kickstarter backing, you're going to get if you went for the level and got to it in time, you're going to get the special balanced dice. You're going to get the neoprene mat. The novels are going to be included, I think, if that was one of the stretch goals that you signed up for. And you should have access to the audiobook versions of those as well. I've heard the audiobook versions of a couple of them. Really good stuff. Our own Keith Tracton was the voice actor for the first World at War 85 book, and he did a really good job of it. Surprisingly. Keith's going to kill me for this. Having met him in person, the voice that he uses for the audiobooks is much more cleaner and professional than it is in real life, and I almost feel bad for saying that, but I guess it's true for all of us. I mean, I guess I have my normal voice when I'm normally talking, and then I have my presentation voice when I'm doing videos. So I guess we all have different levels of voices that we use. And honestly, when I was listening, I was like, "Wow, is that really Keith?" I was like, "Yeah, I guess it is Keith." So yeah, Keith did a wonderful job at that. Those should be coming as well. What else was there with Kickstarter goals? I don't remember. I don't remember. I don't remember. But yeah, all right. So yeah, like I said, the space infantry, I've probably exhausted myself, and I may not get to the space. Actually, I probably will get to the space infantry right after this. But yeah, that's kind of a first look. Yeah, we'll be getting this to the table real quick. Vassal, the Vassal mod. Because I know I've already got about a half a dozen people. We're gonna play it when the Vassal comes out. It's like, yeah, we'll sit down, we'll play it. Because I know Mark and I, even though we played together or against each other at Contact Atlanta, we really didn't get a chance to play against each other. So I know Mark and I is probably going to do it. Probably Mark's brother. I know the other Mark that came in from ATS, who was at Contact Atlanta. Probably going to be getting some games with him. Chris, I don't know. Chris didn't say anything too much about it. And there's just a couple of 3 other guys that I know that want to get into games with World of War 85. The Vassal module is, I believe, all done. It is not going to be released until people start getting the retail copy. I haven't heard the exact release date, and David actually may just go ahead and release. And again, this is just me hypotheticalizing. Don't hold me to this. I think David may just go ahead and release it when he starts shipping. I don't know if he's going to do it when he starts shipping. I would think he would do it when it starts shipping, or he may wait a couple 3 days until copies start arriving on people's doorsteps before he releases the Vassal module. But the Vassal module is there. I've talked to I've chatted quite briefly in kind of a tertiary way with the designer of the Vassal module. I asked him if the Geeson module was in it so you can play the Geeson campaign via Vassal, and he said everything from the Kickstarter is in it. So I'm going to guess that means yes. So I'm hoping, because it would be a real easy way to set up the campaign is just doing it on Vassal. Can I? No, I can't flip this around. Well, no, I can't flip it around. I'd rather have you guys look at me when I'm doing this little wrap up in this talk. And hopefully by this time next week, this video channel will still be around. There's some big things coming down with YouTube. I want to make a video on it, but I want to wait until after the 10th. The biggest changes to YouTube are happening December 10th. So if you're watching this after December 10th, then that means the purge wasn't as bad as we thought it was going to be. The content creators thought it was going to be. And if you're not listening to this after the 10th, then, well, we'll see what happens. I will be doing a video at some point, some way, shape, or form. Changes to YouTube, the content creators, new restrictions, how the COPPA, Child Online Personal Privacy Protection Act, how that's affecting YouTube. And basically, the big shaft that YouTube is giving a lot of the content creators, both the monetized and unmonetized. But like I said, the biggest changes aren't happening until the 10th, and I want to kind of reserve any commentary until a couple days after that. We see what shakes up with it and what actually happens. Of course, by then it may be too late. I may not have a channel after the 10th. Don't know. We'll see what happens. So that's what we got. Yeah, I'll probably get to recording the Space Infantry unboxing heroes because I really want to crack that open. But yeah, we're going to be getting to some gameplay of World of War 85. Like I said, it's going to be one of the check scenarios, and I'm going to be using the solo assistant so I can demonstrate how that works as well. That probably start that this week. I say hopefully and not mournfully. Yeah, I guess that's about all I got for right now. Questions, comments, concerns, complaints, criticisms in the comment section. I'll see everybody next time. See ya!